What's up, my dudes?
Hello.
How goes everything, my dudes? Okay, so yeah,
Not
a lot have been happening, but we'll definitely go through that in a moment. In the meantime, it's Henshin here, bringing all that Super Sentai hype as we go along throughout each week. And with me, as always, if you'd like to introduce yourself, my dude.
I'm Mark. Hello. I'm Elim. But I've got something else before we go into the thing.
Oh yeah.
I've got a new pet today. Do you want to see him?
Oh yeah, go on in.
Okay.
Is it a
All right. You
small
ready?
one?
It is. Look, here he is.
Ah.
Hello. He does a trick as well. Watch. Watch. Hang on. Whee! Look at him. Hello.
When did that arrive
Oh.
then?
It arrived today.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, Thomas Franco, what up, my dude?
Welcome, Thomas. But his head goes back, and then he goes like that, and he's like, "I'm a dinosaur."
So, how many times have you tried using that?
I've tried once. I can't grow giant yet. Um, but he roars.
Hey Thomas, just quickly let us know what kind of things you've got in your collection so far, because I want to know if you've got anything Zenkaiger related. So yeah, today we've got like three things to talk about. Last two things that we'll talk about generally are the evil rangers and shadow rangers that we have for
Hmm.
Super Sentai. Um, but that's just to sort of like be a commemoration of today's episode that we're reviewing. And the other thing, obviously, would be episode 21 review. But first, we got to talk
Okay.
about one particular thing, and that is the new things that are coming out for Super Zenkaiser and Super Kaiser, because of the fact that I totally called it. I called it. I
You
called it. I
did. You
called it.
did.
I called it. I called. I mean, it was probably a guess. Everyone could have guessed, but like, I
Mm.
just knew straight off the bat that it was going to be combining with Juran or Gowon and the others. Obviously, there was no way to hint how that would actually happen because of the figures and stuff just being so damn well designed that it's hard to see the cracks. But as I pointed out in the previous episodes, obviously you had the little detailing on the back of Super Zen Kaiser, which was reminiscent to the
Hmm.
way that Gowon and Juran combined in the middle, because they had the same sort of like teeth on the back of Zen Kaiser. So,
Yes.
without further ado, let's move on to showing you the little snippets of imagery first that we had as the
Hmm.
sort of preview that you can see currently on here. So this is obviously um, Super Zenkaiyo Juran, I think it is like Super no Zenkaiyo Super Juran, I think that's what they call it. So yeah, obviously it's got the cannons and stuff, and you got the little uh, the deco. I think that's pretty funny how big that deco is for the symbolization of kaiju, like kaiju's. One thing I will say is that I did previously state that I thought it kind of sucked how we had Time Ranger and um, Ranger represented again. However, I failed to see that really what it's trying to represent is the kaiju theme, which is what both of these
Mm.
have. I mean, given V-Rex kind of sounds like, oh, yeah, it's just another dinosaur, but I suppose in terms of Japanese culture, they both V-Rex and Dragon Caesar are represented more as kaiju's. So, although we do not have a kaiju specific season, which would be epic, this is what we've got to represent them so
Give it time.
far.
Give it time. Give it
So,
time.
obviously, we'll show now as well. We've got s- um, I'm guessing just called Super Twokai-Oh because I can't imagine it having a similar name to the Zenkaiyo. But yeah, I thought it's clearly obvious that um, you have like this formation happen because of the SD version of Two Kaiser. Um, but yeah, once again, I feel like it's trying to be pirate theme, but it's not pirate theme. So I would have thought they would make the head look a lot more like um, the quantum sorry, not quantum, the V-Rex Robo's like head. So far out of these, what is your opinion on these, Mark?
Ooh. Okay. So I can't remember where I sent you the pictures before. But okay, so I think it looks kind of cool. Although the one that I can see on the screen, because it's Duran that combines with it or something.
Mhm.
He looks like he's got a cowboy hat
Oh,
on.
bear with me 1 minute. Oh,
So
it's alright. It's good. Sorry, I
oh,
just thought I forgot to turn the power on.
so yeah, so he looks like he's got a cowboy hat on, which kind of represents, I think, the ninja. But the other one where it's it's Dragon and Duran, I think it's okay. But also you can combine it with Run as well.
Hmm.
So obviously anything from that side. But it would have been cool if you could like flip the switch or something, and the clips one on the other side. Yeah, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, we will
Right.
absolutely
Now
see.
that's the proper preview of these two magnificent creations. So here we go. So obviously once you see the transformation for Zenkai, sorry, Zenkaiyo Super Juran, it makes perfect
Mm,
sense. But you know how we were saying before, Mark, where we didn't quite like the idea of the front part on Super
mm,
Zenkaiser because it looked flat compared to the other version. Now, I
yeah.
said this would probably be the case because it probably folds down.
Mm.
We should probably go back to the point that you were right.
I was
So, the
right.
reason why I'm saying that, because of the fact that it doesn't flip down, it in fact just clips off. Now, due to that fact, that completely gets rid of my
Mm.
like argument that Mark, don't be silly, it doesn't need to be like that. It's although it'd be cool if it was like 3D popping out and stuff, it's just gonna fold down and that's part of the transformation sequence, yada yada. No, boom, out of the water. So what actually happens with the transformation? Now it makes perfect sense now why the hands of V-Rex are just sort of like partial. It's because it combines into
Mm,
one. So you have one arm clip off and go onto the other one. The whole crest on the front comes off. That goes to Super Zenkaiser. Sorry, Super Two-Kaisers, Megazord.
yeah.
Sorry, Robo. You know what I mean. But yeah.
Yeah.
So once that other arm is clipped on, and the front part's off, the them emblem that we see hidden behind folds down. The arm is then able to pivot all the way around, and the whole body turns. And then that's when the thing goes
Mm.
back up and clips into that plug where the arm used to be. Obviously, we kind of
Oh.
guessed that the other half of the head for Super's 2 is like right at the back of the actual head for Super Zen Kaiser. But then the legs are what threw me off because I wasn't too sure how that was going to work. But it turns out
Yeah.
that one of Super Zenkai's feet actually just come off, and it's just the actual base, like the metal claw part of it, that really comes off. And so you leave
Mm.
this sort of like stump, which is perfectly level with the other foot. That then folds back and clips into the other one, and that's when you have that whole side like perfectly done. With the other foot, you then put that at the bottom of Duran, another little clip to hold one of the guns, and that completes the whole sequence. That's everything combined
Ah.
on. Um,
It the
yeah, this
leg
is.
looks really weird.
Sorry?
Like the leg looks really weird when looking at it. It
Yeah.
feels like he's missed leg day on his right leg.
But you say that, but it looks perfectly like aligned and everything. Like, there's nothing. I can't find a fault in this one. I've seen faults in some later, I mean, earlier seasons where we had like later Zords introduced and then they're combined together, and you think could have been better. Um, Especially in terms of Ziroja, because that final Robo with all of them combining together and the legs just being bricks doesn't quite work.
Mm.
Especially bricks that have no like difference in shape. But this works perfectly. For Super Twokai-Oh, the only thing you really get from it is obviously the body part that you've seen, and the rest is generally Twokai-Oh and the SG figure. So the SG figure,
Mm.
obviously, the head pops off, goes into the chest. Super Zenkaiser goes into the middle and forms the head. But then you have, I didn't realize this, I don't know if you found this out, but the actual fire, well, I think it's actually representing flame.
The
But it's
kan
because
yeah, the
it's, yeah,
kanji.
yeah, the kanji, because it's two fire emblems stacked against each other. That comes off and actually goes onto the sword, and so the sword comes over to him as well. And then you've got obviously the other sword, which is Ricky being attached with the gun behind him. Um, I feel sorry for Katana because he's kind of left out on this one, and yet his weapon's still present.
Yeah. Well, there's apparently there's another one coming out soon. Another Zord or Mecha.
Mm,
So I'm guessing that might attach to like attached to him.
potentially, potentially.
Um,
But yeah,
yeah. I'm also having a quick look at the toy, like because that image there, that's from the that's when they both do it. But there's another one that actually tells you how to properly assemble it.
oh, hello, is another person. Hi, Mary.
Yeah. Uh,
Duh, duh, duh.
hello, Mary.
Yes,
How are
let us know
you?
your thoughts, Mary. We want to know your thoughts on these particular forms. I don't know how much you've been watching on Zenkaiger and stuff, but do let us know. Um, but yeah, is there a particular form you prefer out of these two at all, Mark?
I prefer the Kaito's one, the one with Dragon and
Yeah,
Durin.
yeah, it looks
So
so
it looks
good.
like it looks
Yeah.
really, really
When you
cool.
get this one,
Oh,
let me know what it's like when you combine the others. I want images, but for now,
yeah. I need the oh, what's it called? I need two Kaisers one,
mm,
but the rest of it I haven't.
yeah.
But he looks so cool as a thingy.
Yeah, I think the guns
Like,
could have been attached more onto the shoulder, like actual body, rather than on the arms. That's the only flaw I can
mm,
see. Um, but generally it looks pretty cool. Cause I like the idea of when you think about it, he's moving his arms up, back and forth, and the guns are moving back and forth as well. I think that's a bit of a weird concept. just, just it's like
yeah.
I'm gonna fire, lift your arm up.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, like looking at the HD video that they just did, Kaito looks really, really cool looking.
Mm,
Like it stands out. So it feels weird because it feels like, do you know those old, you know, the original Power Ranger toys, the ones that like the big muscular ones
yeah.
that came out. It looks like that, but I kind of like it. So I'm kind of glad I ordered that one. Um, darn, it's big. Looks so
Oh,
cool.
Mary just said, I am good. I have not been able to watch it because I've been busy. Okay,
Uh,
in that case, that helps because we want you to tell us, Mary, out of these two, which one's your favourite? Because it's cool to have an outside opinion sometimes, so
mm,
let us know. Either, obviously, Kaito with Juran forming Zenkaiger Super Juran, or you have Twokai-Oh Super Mode right there. So let us know what you think looks more appealing. But yeah,
mm,
yeah, I do remember we've talked about this before about the new one that's coming out. It's basically going to be similar to like a cannon form
yeah.
compared to like the SPD, like SWAT Robo, or even like similar to Jetman's later, like last sort of like mecha they added. But yeah, I think there's a lot of different ways they could do the next one.
Mm.
We've also seen some new things as well. So while we go talk about another thing, is that we're going to see another Robo for Stay Caesar, which is in the next
I was
episode.
I was about to say that he's getting a robot.
Mm.
This one hopefully lasts at least maybe two episodes rather than
Yeah,
one.
I'm hoping for some like transformative properties, or at least usable with two Kaiser in some way, or
Mm.
sorry, not two Kaiser, Zenkaiser stuff. Sorry,
Yeah.
Zenkaiger
Uh,
stuff. I'm always getting my
do you
Zenkais mixed up.
do you reckon that we're going to get this as a toy?
You know what? I think they might be upgrading it to the point it becomes the last mecha, because it
Mm.
is one that's of a color representation that's not being used yet. So, I mean, that when you think about it, Super Zen Kaiser has kind of got more like a dominant black appearance, um,
Mm.
which, I think they're trying to keep to like color groups in a way, because it's like separating them from each other, which is why we
Yeah.
have like that silver and gold on two Kaiser Zord, but then obviously you have Katana and Ricky, just basic colors for them. Because they're
Yeah.
so small, it's
But
not
but
really a dominant part really. It's more of the silver or gold.
but you didn't answer my question. Do you think they're going to bring it out as the final version out as a toy?
Oh yeah, yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
If
Well,
they've got enough to it, because they're releasing Stay Caesar's Changer now, so
yeah.
that's already out in the wind, alongside the full scale version of the Rusolken belonging to
Void
Galsorg.
Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone was like, "Are you going to get that?" I was like, "No." It looks cool.
I
No, but
want
I'm
to
gonna.
get the
I'm very.
I would love to get the memorial Rusolken. I mean, come on,
Hmm.
it's a proper size, it's a proper scale. Of course, you would want that. Um,
Is it though? Because if it was exactly the same as the other one wasn't too proper scale, like not the same thing as the Sentai. It was just a little bit
was
bigger.
it? I thought it was a proper scale. It was. I swear the part of the advertisement was saying it was 1 for 1. Yeah.
Really? Because I looked it up and I think it's not. Yeah, if it is, that's cool. I just know that I really want Stacy's weapon more.
Yeah, Stay Caesar's probably a good one. Let me know when you get that. Oh, what I would actually want to know, here's your homework for you, Mark. Once you do get it, find out
Right.
what happens when you put the Super Zenkaiger gear into it.
I wonder if it would just say error, error.
Damn, damn, damn.
No change, Zenkai.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to find out what happens. But maybe that will happen in the TV show before we actually get the chance to try it out ourselves. We just have to wait and see.
Do you reckon Stacy's going to get? Do you reckon Stacy's going to get a power up now then?
Maybe.
So he becomes Super Stacy.
It'd be interesting to see. I'm kind of hoping that Caesar becomes something else though, like because he's technically in a position to be influenced by both Yak-chan and Kaito's parents. So I'm just waiting to
Mm.
see what happens. But it's clear we've got another like from what we've seen so far. It's clear we've got a scenario of a Go Busters redone concept because it's clear that Kaito's parents have been captured. But that's what they
Mm.
do. Right. Let's move on to the next subject, shall we? So, obviously for this particular episode, we've got Shadow Rangers making a reappearance. This has not been the first time that Shadow Rangers have appeared. Now, what do I mean by Shadow Rangers? I mean Rangers that are in themselves being copied or have somehow themselves been turned evil. For Power Rangers, we've had that a load of times, and that's because we've also had it
Yes.
obviously in Super Sentai, especially in cases of like movies and whatnot. There has been representations of evil forms of Rangers or even Shadow Rangers, specifically Aka Ranger when he was in the Tokuja movie where Aka Ranger was like an evil version of himself, or at least a clone of him was made. Obviously, there's a lot more different ones. We're not counting obviously the bad guys from Hurricane Jar somehow grabbing the powers from Gal Ranger and using those. We're not counting that. We're talking about like duplications, shadow versions, or even copies, as we've seen in today's episode. Well, the most recent episode.
Sundays.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what exactly do you think makes a good Shadow Ranger, Mark?
Someone that can beat the bad guys, or the good guys, should I say?
Yeah.
That's literally all they're designed for. Um, I'm not too sure actually. I think it's just I think be able like bad guys in or Shadow Rangers or Evil Rangers and stuff like that. They just have the ability just to beat because they don't have anything to hold them back.
Mm.
Where a ranger might be like, I can't fight him. Oh my god, like I can't use that ultimate attack. Where the bad guy's like, ultimate attack incoming, boom.
Yeah, I do think there has been quite a few times where I think Shadow Rangers could be used a little bit more. Um, Obviously, like I don't exactly know what concepts, but off the top of my head, I would really love to see um, more of a sort of like not really an evil, but more of like a Nega Ranger, like a anti-hero version of a clone.
Mm,
Obviously, you had stuff like Car Ranger had clones of them, like Shadow versions. Gal Ranger is definitely a clear one of having Shadow Rangers made of them because of an orc or whatever it's called in that. Clone them in that way. Yeah, I think there's been a lot of different methods. obviously we're also excluding stuff like Rangers turn into monsters, such as like Ninja, where Star Ninja becomes a werewolf. That doesn't count.
Mm.
But there has definitely been a lot of different, like, interesting concepts around this. Um, is there a particular favorite of yours that stands in mind at all, Mark?
I don't know because I've not watched a lot of the Sentai, so it's hard to kind of pick up when Shadow Rangers are.
Mm,
Like I feel like the ones that stand out the most to me are like Turbo.
mm,
As much as I don't like the series, when they made the Shadow like Turbo Rangers, that kind of stood out.
mm.
Um, Possibly maybe the Putty Rangers in MMPR, where
Yeah.
you had all the actual putties like transform into the
Yeah.
Rangers
In Ranger, that was
and
pretty well done as well.
yeah. They're the only ones that kind of really like stand out to me.
Oh, my chest
You're
fell.
being attacked by by Armchair World.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Or Disintegration World, I don't know, one of the two.
Yeah.
Time World. But yeah, I think probably actually now I've mentioned it, like Ninja was probably a good one because they really made um, Dark Ninja or Aka Ninja Dark version really seem more menacing. Um,
Mm,
and I think that's kind of what you need to have. I think it's better if Shadow Rangers are henchmen more than individual personalities, because I think there's
mm.
too much of a clash. Because obviously it's one thing to be fighting yourself, but to have to listen to yourself and all that rubbish you're spouting out too, it's another thing entirely. I think it's more menacing if they don't say anything at all, because just
Mm.
seeing ranger suits and realizing you have to fight that is probably one of the scariest concepts in every rangerverse.
Yeah.
So, um, I mean, like you could be a ranger and you fighting against the psycho rangers, and you still have a level of like will. You don't want to break. You just want to defeat him, even if you are getting thrashed. Shadow Rangers, on the other hand, it's like it's not only just facing yourself; it's facing something that can do exactly what you can, but just without any safeguards, without any measures. So, if you know of a ranger as really really strong, then you should be even more scared if it's a shadow version, because then
Mm.
it's got no boundaries, there's no point where you could think, oh, they'll stop here. Nope, they're continuing with the massacre. Um,
Yeah. Just killing everyone. That's fine. We'll get him later.
yeah.
We'll spend 20 minutes at home while he kills multiple people in one
Right.
go.
Here's a good question though. What would you love to see as a Shadow Ranger? Which particular ranger would you want to see a Shadow Ranger of most?
Hmm. As much as I think I'd like to see more of kind of either the main team, but I want them to be sneaky,
Mm.
where I want them to like when we saw in today's episode or into Zenkaiger where they go around running and stealing stuff. I want to see that, but I also want them to also, and this is going into like more of an adult like a more mature array,
Hmm.
just mess with people and really, really make them think, was that really them? But kind of make it sure they're like, oh, you're such a good person, but I don't believe it. And then that's a matter of thing or psychological
Yeah.
going all the way through. That's what I want to see. How about you?
Oh, like I've always wanted to see a evil like a shadow version of Aqua Red, because I know that obviously he was in
Mm,
Gokaiger and he sort of pretty much died and never came back. Um, but I would love to see like a Nero Black version of him.
mm,
I thought that would be really really cool just to see like how much of a threat he is, because obviously that guy's probably very knowledgeable. Obviously I don't expect him to have Gokaiger powers, but that would kind of be a bonus. But
yeah.
like yeah, just the thought of someone who's like top of the hierarchy, one person that represents all, being the complete opposite and being the one that represents everything that could be wrong with Super Sentai.
Mm,
Having that as a threat. I mean, obviously Power Rangers had Lord Draken, so we've been really blessed with that. I don't think Super Sentai has anything similar to that kind of concept yet, and I think that's what Super Sentai probably could do one day as a big concept, as a maybe even a big movie or something like that. But obviously we've had
mm,
Evil Rangers and like Shadow Rangers pop up in episodes, but I think having something like, I don't know, Aka Red's spirit going completely bat crazy and corrupted, I think could be a huge like story for a Super Sentai movie, especially one that
Oh,
involves
yeah,
everyone
okay.
together.
Yeah, I kind of think that. I think that would be kind of cool seeing like just him go like, do you know what, I've had enough. Frick it, I'm gonna go around, kill everyone, defeat them, take their powers. But yeah, like I don't think Sentai has like, apart from like Aka Red, that I don't think they actually have like anyone like Tommy or Draken or stuff, because they don't, like, the franchise didn't focus in on one character.
Mm.
You know, the only one you could say is Aka Red. You know, the original Red Ranger. He goes absolutely crazy, but yeah, yeah, I kind of would like to see it. I think it'd be kind of good.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where that's for certain. Okay, I suppose we better move on now to the episode that we're talking about today. So, episode
Mm,
21. Obviously, in this particular episode, it involved what I can guess could be Copy World. Obviously,
yeah.
he's making copies of different people, but he's making them evil versions of themselves, which is a little bit different than Shadow version. It's kind of like really bad
Mm.
printing. But yeah, in this obviously we have different people getting scanned. That kid one broke my heart though, where kids throwing stones at a
Just
good
trying
normal
to.
version of himself, and I'm like, oh, right in the hurts.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I think it was a pretty good episode. I loved how, although it was like, oh, Kaito's being blamed for all his uh, evil deeds and stuff, but then he's been captured and they realise, oh, it's actually not him. But we're
Mm.
going to keep you here anyway. And then, uh, we have Zox getting involved and then realising, oh, actually, it's not as fun if someone's taking my name in vain and doing all the stuff without me doing anything. Um, but yeah, I think this was a pretty good episode. I like how we got more involved in it. I was wondering how this episode was going to turn out because honestly, I thought the evil versions became Kaijuo because it was just completely obliterating everything, and I got concerned. But obviously, now we've seen the context, it makes more sense. Any actual thoughts on this particular episode, Mark, before we start diving into detail?
Well, it was a good episode. I I was just thinking then, I would have loved it if this spanned over like say 3 or 4 or maybe like say 10 episodes,
Mm,
where maybe like they kidnap Kaito or something, they scan and make a duplicate copy, and he just gets evil and evil, so it puts seeds of like doubt, like, oh, Kaito wouldn't do that, but not like he goes rob stuff, but it was more kind of like Kaito's making these really bad decisions. Why is he doing this?
mm,
And then it's like at the end, it's like, oh my god, it's a copy because the real Kaito jumps out. Um, that would be absolutely thing. The episode was good. I felt like they actually paid quite a bit of attention to stuff, and they had Flint. I thought this entire episode was like we're going after
that's
Flint.
what I
Be-
thought.
yeah, like when you saw at the very beginning where she, they're thinking of it, and I was just like, yeah, I think of it like that too. But I was like, oh, if we get her, if we turn it evil, or we have an evil copy, she could make us our things, and she'd be more happy. And I was like, why? And then it's like, no, she's on the ship. No one cares. I'm like,
Yeah,
damn it,
I
bring me
honestly
Flint.
thinking this is kind of like a prelude to the concept of capturing Flint and then actually possibly succeeding. So there's always that thing where if something's mentioned and they haven't acted upon it, it means it's going to be something big later on down the line.
Mm.
Same thing with what happened with obviously, Stacy finding out about Kaito's parents and then that going on from there and then him awakening and then we got the super mode.
Mm.
So, you never know what it could lead to next. I suppose in a way I was kind of hoping that they would capture Flynn, and then she ends up having to work on the new robo for Stay Caesar. But I
Mm.
suppose he's Ulgerude's been working hard, bless him.
In the
But
background,
I think it's good that,
working away.
yeah, I think it is good though that all the bad guys are becoming like heavily aware of Flint because she does seem to be making everything now.
Mm. Yeah, I hope that, like, again, like, I don't know what it is. I want them to make like an evil copy of her. She will like create stuff, or they send the evil copy of her to like kind of like make really bad tech for the others that
Mm,
fail, so the bad guys win. that would be absolutely brilliant. But I just want to see Evil Flint. I think that would be kind of really cool to see.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's go into a little bit of the scenes and stuff. So, I think this is during a debut. So, in this particular episode, we have Super Zenkaiser. I mean, everything before this was generally just, you know, usual kind of stuff. I feel like because of the whole um, way they set up each of these worlds to be sort of like
Mm,
used, it's kind of done in a big thing. Like, it's not really. I mean, it's not to the level of Car Ranger, where it's completely taken the mick out of and it's just completely weird, but there is that essence to it, to this like casual foes. As you've stated, obviously, it's just sort of pointed out, and it's a shame I didn't do 3 episodes into it, but I think they're trying to
mm.
do this a little bit more light-hearted than most seasons. But yeah, obviously one of the debuts generally in this is obviously both Super Kaiser and Super Zenkaiser becoming big in this particular event, much like Juran and the others. Um,
Mm.
Now, obviously, there's nothing really significant to this per se, but what did you think of Super Zenkaiser when he actually grew big?
I quite liked it. I think the way that I would have liked it is if they debuted it more later on.
Hmm.
So obviously the way that two guys just shrink, so they couldn't really work with that. But I think that maybe they could have just said, "Oh, Kaito's giant," because he's like, "Oh my god, I always wanted to try being a giant," which I then wanted him to kind of have like he attacks the monster and he takes them down, and then in next week's episode it's like, oh no, like they've come together. I think that would have worked so much better, but they just went straight into it. But I'm hoping we get an episode where Kaito just literally grows big and that's it. You know, he goes for it. It's not like, oh, I have to have two guys here constantly. But I like it. I think it's a very good concept. So I want to see him fight along his team.
Mm.
So I'm hoping that you don't get the last battle. It's like, I'm here to join you, and the others get absolutely trashed. And you're like, no, Kaito, don't die. I do think he's going to die in the series, though.
Oh, yeah, I do think it was pretty cool to see. Like, I think you could see more detailing involved with Zenkaiser when he's like, fully large and whatnot. So,
Mhm.
yeah, it's quite kind of nice to see. Now, was you surprised about Two Kaiser when he become the SD mode? Oh yeah, before we get
Yeah.
into that, I do think it was really cool. Just a quick note that Flynn was the one that said, "Oh, actually, do this. Don't send Duran and the others after they just got their butts beaten." Sorry, as you were.
Mm. Yeah. It did surprise me because obviously we've just seen that it's two Kaiser that turns into it, but I generally thought it was a giant version. But yeah, like I was like,
Mm,
that's funny, that's interesting. And then seeing two Kaisers result expression like what I was like, yeah, I would be exactly the same.
yeah.
The only thing I would say, the one thing that annoyed me in this is when they do the ultimate attack,
Oh yeah.
they separate and they're both
Yeah. We'll
giant,
get to that
and then
one.
they
Yeah.
come back together. I'm like, what?
I think I think the only thing I don't like about to Kaiser in his SD form is two things. One, it doesn't really represent the mecha from uh, Time Ranger as much. Like V-Rex didn't really get anything significant other than a big head, which is usually pointing down in the robo form. Second thing, I feel like two Kaiser becoming an SD form is something that should only happen once they've conquered the whole SD world thing. Like this to me seems like, I mean, maybe they figured out how Katana and Ricky turned into it, and then they could do it to Zen Kaiser and two Kaiser and turn him back again. But considering the like significance of disability, I do think that it's unfair that two Kaiser can do this and the other brothers are just still normal.
Mm. Yeah, I thought the same. I was like, but if you've got that sort of technology that can put you back to normal, could you not give them the gear?
Yeah.
Like, could it be a thing that they have to stay morphed and they have to use the gear to stay like that? It just felt a bit kind of weird.
Mm.
So I don't know why. And again, I can see the non-representation of it. Like, I think it would be more interesting if it brought that dinosaur, like the dinosaur out, and they were inside it. So obviously, two Kaiser grows, but then two Kaiser's got that version, which would then show it if it turned into a robot. It would have made more sense to do it that way than,
Yeah.
uh, God damn it, Bandai. God damn it,
I think
Toei.
it's kind of interesting though how it was Zox that initiates the transformation sequence. That's why
Mm.
his silhouette's in the back there. Um, but like, yeah, I think it is a bit funny how during this combination sequence, um, Kaito admits that Yak-chan taught him how to dance.
I was expecting dad dancing, like proper dad dancing, like break it out arm.
Yeah, it's so bad. It's so bad. There was a little video actually I saw recently posted online about I think it was the actor who plays as Zox, um, was the one who actually designed the dance for the transformation for Super Sentai Kaiser.
Mm.
I think that was a video of him with one of the people that he trains with, or perhaps like studies under, one of the two. But like, yeah, they're proper going through the whole dance thing, and you just see you just see the actors portraying Kaito just sort of try and join in with it. It was so funny to see. I would do the same thing though. I would give it a little try. But
Mm.
yeah, obviously after they're all combined and the parts go into the correct position, as we well know, we have Zenkaiger.
Yeah.
What did you think of this design that you have in this particular show?
Is it in dragon mode basically?
But yeah,
In dinosaur
it's
mode?
basically
Yeah.
yeah, it's V-Rex in
Okay.
Zenkaiger.
I so when I saw this, I was like, okay, I can imagine if this is if Kaito got really mad, like it feels like he's like going, I'm gonna go do this, I'm gonna do that, and that's how I thought about it. So I was just like, do you know what, this would be kind of cool, but only if like on Rampage, so if he got really angry. Um, but it just generally, I just didn't think of it as a dinosaur. I just thought it was a man in a suit. That's the only thing. Like all the Zords I've ever seen, like Dragon Caesar, the Q-Rex, even the one in Super Mega Force or Gokaiger, where I imagine that would be a kaiju or like a monster.
Yeah.
This one is it's a guy in a suit going ah, and that's what I saw it as.
Yeah, to be fair, I think with Zenkai Duo, I think the difficulty is his proportions because of all of these parts generally are supposed to be forming into something else eventually. So
Mm,
I think that his arms are the one thing that sort of go, not so quite as good as the V-Rex because even the movement's a bit different. They've tried to recreate
mm,
it, obviously, but I do think um, there's difficulty involving with taking a concept from one show and then reinventing it for another. Um,
mm,
but yeah, I do think it's pretty cool. Like it does seem quite menacing. The head works perfectly well. Obviously, once again, my only issue with Twokai-Oh, sorry, yeah, sorry, Super to Kaiser and having the SD form of him is that V-Rex head is not pointing down to represent
mm,
the Megazord or Robo better. Other than that,
mm.
it's pretty cool. I do think it's kind of weird how they couldn't be asked to do a cockpit for them and just the two of them just sort of silhouette lean next to each other. Um, Other than that, I think it's pretty cool. I do like the weapons in this though. So obviously we've got the missiles in the hands, and then we've also got the mouth lightning and the guns on the side doing as what you expect. Is there anything else you would say that you would prefer to have seen from this particular form?
Not really. I think it is what it is. I think them not designing a cockpit is absolutely
Mm.
fine. I think the only thing I don't like in it is because obviously it feels like they're meant to be fused together. Um, like I would like it if they had their sayings at the end. So he's like, "Yo ho ho, we've destroyed it." Kaito's like, "All right, I'm going to give you the full text of Shakespeare now. Just going to lean it out for you. You're going to have this," and you're like, "You finished just after him. Well done." So I kind of think they need to come up with like a catchphrase where it's just like, I don't know, target eliminated, yo-ho-hoy, and that's it. Just end it with that.
I do think it's pretty good there how the tail was also used. Like that
Mm,
drill tail was fun to see again after it not being appearing in well since Uranger. Obviously you did have
mm.
it in Gokaiger, but I think would you think that sorry would you say that the representation of that tail attack was better in Zenkaiger than Gokaiger?
Um, I don't know because I think with the one in Gokaiger was dedicated towards it, where this one felt maybe a bit fluid. But I think maybe in the next couple of episodes, when we see it a bit more, then it's able to tell.
Yeah.
But when I saw it, I just generally kind of thought it was it was mainly just for I've lost my train of thought. Um, it reminded me of Jew Ranger a
Yeah.
lot more than anything. So that to me is that I thought of Jew Ranger. I didn't think of
Yeah.
anything else. So at least that kind of worked. Went, it's the Dragon Tail. Nice.
I think the charge attack and stuff was really cool too. One thing I
Mm,
will say is I don't remember Zenkai-Oh Juran Gaon ever having this ability to do like a logo attack from their chest. I thought that was a bit weird. Because that's never really been
sure they
used apart from now. I
uh,
swear, I
don't they have in
swear.
like I'm sure they're like episode 1 or 2, and it's like one of those things where we've got this ultimate attack that can destroy everyone. We'll use it once and never again, and you never see it ever again.
Mm.
I'm sure I've seen something, but maybe it's because here's the bad guy. They can use all their ability. Like,
Yeah.
and be like, oh, I can do that. Let's try next time.
I do think though that the Tau on Zenkai Duo is a lot better than the balance involved with
Mm,
the like live action version of Gokai Silver's mecha. I just feel like that like T-Rex form or Kaiju form that they had, the tail just looked too big and chunky, but I think this one
mm,
balances out that concept a bit better. Like it doesn't, it's
yeah.
not always hanging down like a pile of rocks.
this
um,
is this is when this is when we find out, like, when they do behind the scenes,
yeah.
and it'll be oh, hey, so yeah, we took the dragon tail from the actual thing and we put it on there. And you're like, oh, okay, interesting, nice.
Yeah, I do like how what we'll see is that um, same weapon that you see in Ranger being used again on you know Super Twokai-Oh, because obviously the staff is perfectly embolized with that thing that they attach on, and then they also
Hmm,
have obviously the symbol go on top of it too. Um, but yeah, I think like the only thing I would say about um, this particular form is that the guns could be a little bit better. That's the only thing I
yeah,
could probably say.
they remind me of like rail guns. Like
Yeah,
when you see it on like here like that. It's
yeah,
not even
it looks
looking.
terrible on that though.
Yeah, well, it's like half the size of what the profit. But I
Yeah.
love they remind me of like rail guns. Like,
Mm,
they can shoot through anything. But I feel like this is just an ultimate, like, fire all missiles, fire everything,
yeah.
fire me laser. Brah. That's it.
Right, let's go on to the specials that we had in this particular episode. With Bioman, we had that as a representation in this episode. Now, I don't know much about Bioman, but I thought that electric sort of electron attack was pretty cool. Did you think that was a good representation of Bioman?
I've not seen Bioman, so I'm gonna go yes. Maybe. It was okay. Like, I generally think over the past couple of times, we've not seen that much what they can do,
Mm,
and I think it's just, again, this is just power. It's not all the powers of them.
that is
Not.
true.
It doesn't give representation. It's just literally, here is what we can do,
Mm.
and it's like, oh, you want to see your favorite suits in flashy 3D, yeah, or like on green screen, yeah, it is. There you go. Um,
They must have a really
but
good sort of like archive of all these Ranger suits, though. Like considering how many times they're used again, um, like, 'cause I know that Ranger suits generally have a decay time, which is why Power Rangers has trouble adapting them sometimes.
it's more monster suits that have a decay of time,
Yeah,
where you can, I mean, because obviously you've got spandex, like, you could literally go to Toy and go, right, we've had like the Bioman suits destroyed, could you go redo it? Yeah, we've done it in like a day.
yeah.
Right, cool, thanks. And then when it's like monster suits, it's like, oh, I might as well just chuck it in the bin.
Well, you say that, but I think the
So,
one problem they had with doing Beast Morphers, because this was said like this is actually talked about through the interviews here at Illuminerdi, is
mm,
the actual suits themselves were falling apart when they were doing the final episode for Beast Morphers, because obviously they were
Oh, yeah, I
using the same
remember.
suits for Go Busters, and they had to use tape inside. They had to try and cover up the seams. They had to go through so much to try and keep these things together after these final scenes. So I'm hoping they kind of actually redesign the suits to be a little longer lasting.
Mm,
Obviously, with Go Busters, a little tricky, but if they're going to keep making reappearances in Super Sentais like they have with
yeah.
Zenkaiger, we're just going to have to hope they keep them together.
I
But
think I
they've
think they
got the
do.
schematics, haven't they? So they could always redesign them if they need to.
Yeah.
Like they've got the materials.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, like the spandex is very kind of big, like because obviously Go Buster was leather, so I
yeah.
can see it doing that. But then also you're using like 9-year-old suits, so
Mhm.
with spandex, it like I've got spandex here that I bought probably like 20 years ago, and it's still like spot on. I think it's more because it was a different like little thing,
Material,
like
yeah.
yeah, it's kind of broken down.
Yeah.
But then you got to think of how much strain that they've used, and then they're going back to using strain again.
Yeah.
But I think it's like the helmets can be done quite easily again. Like they just patch them up or remake them straight away.
Yeah.
Um, it's just good.
Yeah. Be
Just
interesting to see how these guys' suits kind of age, but I suppose we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, for the meantime, obviously we had both the super forms have their special attack put together.
mm,
Did you like it that seeing them both together rather than apart? Because obviously I loved
mm,
how they had the missiles and then that massive, obviously, lance being fired
mm.
at. What did you think?
I liked it. I will also add that if you watch Zenkaiger again at the very beginning, Kaito's suit's falling apart already.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like it's cracking. I think it's on like because obviously it's probably a stun shoot, but it's on his shield. It looks like it's cracking away,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, they're gonna do it. But for the attack, I liked it. It was good. I think again, I'd like to see more missiles, but I think I'm liking the fact that they do team up quite a bit now.
Mm,
It's not where it's like, oh, Zoc's like, I don't care about you. It's like, yeah, we do it. I think what I would probably have liked, and it was probably me, I don't know if they do it properly, but I would have had Kaito fire his off and then the missiles go around it.
yeah.
And then so it says double tap rather than being on the side.
Yeah.
I think that would have been good, even if they just rotated around. Um, but I've got to give it to the special effects guys.
Yeah, they
It's
did it well.
good.
Obviously, the last thing we've got is the uh, Kaiju Max Blaster that we had. That I quite liked actually. Like seeing all of those, like even his knees fired. That's the thing that got me.
Yeah.
I like because obviously you didn't really see it that much, but I was like looking through it and I was just taking these pictures, and then I realized, oh my god, and that special attack, his knees go off too. What the hell?
It's everything. Just fire
Yeah,
everything in the arsenal.
I'm surprised his toes weren't firing off. Like his chest piece wasn't like firing off lasers. Just see something from his side
Turns
flip out and fire.
just turns around and backfires missiles.
Yeah.
Just literally summons a missile everywhere. It's just like,
Yeah,
oh,
there's even a couple of
just do it.
flashpoints where he's supposedly firing, but I do think they missed
Yeah.
out on doing something on the chest. Once again,
Yeah.
the chest is being misused. There's not even a
God
light
damn
up
it.
feature. It's really frustrating. But yeah, I think that's pretty much covers pretty much everything on this particular episode because there wasn't really much else really we could pick at. Was there a favorite evil version or shadow version of these two rangers?
I think the best part, or one of the better parts in this episode, was when they morph.
Mm.
And it's like, it's like Kaito does his thing, and then evil Kaito, then you got like Jiren comes in, and he's about to do his, and then evil Kaito pops in and
Interrupts him.
goes,
Yeah.
no. And then even when it's like, because I was like, oh, are they just going to leave it at that? And then when Two Kaiser comes in and he does his stuff, and he's like, pirate, and he's like, I'm the pirate copy, get out my way. I was like, do you know what? I like that. I like that they've got little bits of
Yeah.
humor, and I think this entire episode made me laugh more than quite a few other episodes.
Yeah. I think the best part of this particular episode though was just saying is just a revelation that really Two Kaiser wasn't really acting any different from when he first arrived in that
Mm,
evil form, and that it was only because of Kaito's deal that if whoever does things to thing first, then you don't pillage our world. That Two Kaiser's not doing any of this. I think that's probably
mm,
what Two Kaiser's probably most frustrated at, the fact that he's getting all this blame and whatnot, but he's not doing anything and he can't do
yeah,
anything because of the promise. I think that's generally the only thing that's holding back his own sort of like honor,
mm,
which is kind of odd for a pirate, but then again, these are superhero pirates. So
Yeah.
yeah. I don't think I expected anything different from from Zenkaiser or Kaito in general. So I wasn't surprised by that. But having that revelation about Kaiser and Zox, like that could have been what they've been anyway, was pretty good. I think that's my favourite part about that episode. But yeah, I think that covers anything else we could think of.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, episode rating. Okay,
Oh,
what would we
okay.
give this particular episode?
What number do you think I'm going to give it?
I'm thinking 4.
No,
No?
I'm giving it a Zenkai 5.
Oh.
It's because it made me laugh quite a lot, and I think it was certain points in it. Now, I would have loved to have seen like evil versions of the others. I think that would have been amazing.
Well, we kind of did, but
But it
not
generally
fully.
made,
Yeah.
yeah. But to be fair, it just made me laugh, and I think it's that little bit of humor in it that I think works really, really well. So I'm
Yeah.
going to give it a Zenkai 5.
Yeah. I think the only thing that could have made this better is if they really went with the concept and decided to make different colored versions of each of them, and then have them
Mm,
as like reoccurring like creations pop up now and again. However,
yeah.
since obviously they're quite limited by production and whatnot, and since this is only supposed to be like a one-off thing, just to bring up Zenkai Duo, I think perfectly good episode, perfectly sound. Obviously, I would
Yeah.
have given it a 4 because I thought like there was a couple of things that could have changed differently. But when you look at it as a whole, like there's nothing really flawed about this episode. It's all
Mm,
great. It's one of those things where if they had more planning and more ability to do so, they would have done more with it. But considering the resources and whatnot they have, and the bigger things they probably have in the future, this was a sound episode.
yeah. I just want evil Flint. Like, I would love it if they actually captured her
Yeah, yeah.
and they were like, "Oh, you've got to be good for now," and then it's just like, "Okay," and then she's like, "Haha," and then like massive mascara on her eyes and like that ghostly figure that they do, and be like, "Haha, I'm evil." I'd be like, "God damn it, Flint!" I'd be like, "Please make her evil."
I. Okay, I think that pretty much covers everything. I don't think there's anything truly specific we'll have in the next episode. I think I don't know, it seems like a filler episode to me. I don't know if
Mm,
it seems the same to you. Hopefully we'll have some character development to sort of, help with that. But we're at episode 21. We got super modes, we got Super Zenkaiyo, Super Zenkai Duo. Oh god, these names. Ugh. Um, but like, yeah, we're just gonna have to wait and see if there's anything new coming up soon. But we do actually have in the next episode, which I completely forgot, is the new mecha for Stay Caesar. So the Stay Caesar robot basically makes
yes.
a return. Does look a bit of a better design. We'll go through all of that next, obviously, during the next show. But in the meantime, where can we find you on social media, Mark?
Everywhere bar Twitter as Ellen, but on Twitter as Mainstream Alive. How kind, sir. Tell me where your
Henshin
socials are.
Henshin Adset uh at both Instagram and Twitter. My mind's going all over the place. I've been ill, guys. um,
Yeah.
so yeah, thanks so much for today. Just a little quick snippet before we close, obviously. If you do have any sort of like comments and stuff, any feedback you feel of anything we talk about in any of these shows, you're always welcome to put it in the comments, or even send one of us a direct message or mention us on Twitter, and we'll definitely mention it at some point in other shows. So until next time,
Yes.
my dudes. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Would you like to try that one again? Bye,
Bye.
guys.